Hello, 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 our dear listeners. This is Mona Lee with Beautiful Mind, and I am here on our podcast, Spiritual Vacancy, here to fill your spiritual void. And it is a bittersweet thing right now in this full moon. I don't know if I'm feeling this full moon energy, but holy manoli, Brooke, this is something pretty big that we're talking about today that I am already feeling just as it's starting to brew up in the inside of me of what we're going to discuss. So, yeah.
This is a bittersweet episode. More, sweet because everybody's got their own journey and path. And Mona has a lot of good things that she's going to be looking forward to coming into this new year in 2024. And one of those is leaving the podcast to do her own things. And I cannot tell you how happy I am for her, how much I'm going to miss her love and energy every week meeting with her. But as another human being, her friend that I love truly dearly, every bit of Mona is learning to release them and let them go on their own and what is yearning in your own heart and your own goals and your own desires and to watch you grow and how much
Mm,
I've appreciated this time with you on
mm.
this podcast. Um,
Oh. I have loved every bit of it, Brooke, and it's not the end. It's just a beginning of a new trajectory to something different and
mhm,
something of movement that's happening in 2025. And we all know, as our one of our last recordings that we had is kind of releasing the old. But I never thought it would be part of us, but it is not part of us. It's just this part of our beingness because we're so excited about the women's retreat coming up in October, the annual women's retreat that we have, where we might bust it out to not just one, but we might have two or three segments of retreats going on because that is booming. But I remember when we started this podcast exactly about a year ago, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is almost a year to the day.
Whoa, happy anniversary, my
I know,
friend.
right? I'm
Yes.
like,
One of the most amazing favorite relationships that I have. And I'm so
yes.
grateful. And I feel like we both are really growing more and more. And I remembered when we were walking on the beach, it was over a year ago, of course, before we
Mhm.
started the podcast. And we were both all just every conversation that we have leads into just some type of spirituality. And that's when you came up with the name. You coined the name Spiritual Vacancy, a place where people fill their spiritual void. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. I love everything spiritual. And there's so many people between your people that you work with and my people that I work with that are always asking about spirituality. And it was nothing more perfect than that title for the two of us to have these amazing discussions and amazing people we got to meet and
Yes.
interview.
A ton. I mean, people
Yes,
I didn't even know about, people I
yes.
learned about their journey, and there's so many. And I remember that day on the beach, and we wrote down, and me and you were talking about this podcast. It seemed like forever, and then
Mhm.
finally putting it into motion, and we're like, okay, end of January, we're doing this. Like, we're gonna have our first episode out, and we achieved that goal. And it's gonna be sad, I'm gonna be continuing the podcast on my own.
Mhm.
And, to not have your presence here is going to be like a really weird for me. Like I'm going to be honest, but
Oh,
also appreciate your honesty that, there's things that you want to work on. And a lot of people don't realize that this is a job doing a podcast that you
mhm.
don't get paid for. Our schedules are crazy. It's a time where you actually have to, dedicate to this, and it can be difficult to do other things in our lives or try to balance that. And what I appreciate about you, Mona, is your honesty about all the things that you want to work on and things that you are looking forward to as well. And at this moment, this isn't fitting in correctly or in the right way, and that's okay. And I want people listening that you have to be okay with letting your friends change, evolve, and grow and be supportive in your path because it's what's true to your heart, not mine.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be really supportive of your friends. And I fully support you, and I can't wait to see what you do and you create, and to create this with you to from for one whole year of being with you and getting to talk and our opinions and see your beautiful face every week to do recordings. I mean, it's been an absolute honor. And all of our guests, and like, so to kind of go into that, like, who was some of your favorite guests that we interviewed or stick out, or what were some of your favorite moments on the podcast?
Yes, there are so many, and I want to talk about the reason that we started the whole thing and how we started the whole thing of the most exciting one that I really had. But I don't mean to step backwards, but when just I feel like I want to seal it up as far as the shifts and the growth and the changes. You just had an orb go right across
Oh,
the
did I?
face. Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
all
there
the
was.
spirit people being like, okay, guys, don't get emotional, Brooke.
I know. But there is a great saying that you just said when we were having a conversation about this and making this shift is that in order, and it's all about love, supportive love, unconditional love, radical acceptance of what is in the best and highest good, which is what we've always talked about for, with even with all of our guests too, as we're interviewing them. But sometimes we have to let our people go to let them grow. And that is pure love. And it's just like the growth that's happening, not only for ourselves in different ways. It's going to be exciting to come back to interview ourselves and each other actually on you're going to keep up with the spiritual vacancy. I'm going to be starting that mindful contemplations and guided meditations as foundational modules to start building up for the future classes and online things that I'll be doing that is in my heart space. And I love that you've always been so lovingly supportive of me, my friends. So it's so exciting. But I want to answer your question now. Who was my favorite one? When we first started this podcast, seriously, my favorite one was you because I have always been so inundated and amazed by the psychic world, by psychic mediums, and having so many questions on the inside going, well, what is the difference? And I remember it was one of our first recordings, and I was like, Brooke, what is the difference of psychic and the difference of mediumship? And how does that work? And what is that all about? And you've answered so many amazing questions of what those differences are, which really help to start the whole entire educational process of helping people understand what is the difference, because it is quite an amazing world. And what was really amazing too is that you had introduced us in our interview process with other practitioners, other spiritual people that were also psychics and mediums. And I want to put it out there to our listeners that there's some practitioners, for example, or like I'm an energy healer, and you would think, okay, you can't, interview other energy healers. You got to talk about yourself. Well, no, everybody does it in a different way. Just like every psychic and every medium has a different way of connecting to spirit. And it's so incredible. And I love the way you connect to spirit by doing your galleries, your gallery readings. There's not enough Brooke Anns to go around in the world. And if we could have 10 of you and have you in different segments for different people to help them along to
You
tap
know,
in with their loved ones, man, would this world be an easier, place to navigate through. But I do want to share one of my favorite psychic mediums that really has always stuck in my mind was Grayson.
yeah.
Grayson, he was a medical medium, and both of us, before we even got him on camera, we were like, what does a 20-some-year-old kid know about being a medical medium? How can he claim to do that? Oh my goodness, we're going to see what this is all about. But he was amazing because he was so connected.
Yeah,
He
it's
is so
fascinating
connected.
to
Yes,
listen to and how he works
yes,
and how spirit works with him. And
yes,
it was just like, I think me and you logged off of that interview and we were like, I didn't want it to end.
yes,
I wanted to pick his brain more. I'm finding out
yes.
what's more. And then to interview his grandma right
Mm,
before him and to see he has that support, because of Joyce
mm,
and her abilities. And it's just such a beautiful thing that we've got to witness this last year of the
Amazing.
connections that we've made and the people that we've got to meet and hear their journey and then also to see where your journey takes you,
Mm,
in this year of 2025 of where you're going, because Mona's going to be doing amazing things in
mm.
her path and her journey. And we are still doing like you said, we're going to be doing the retreat again. So
Yes.
me and Mona's friendship obviously is not ending. We love and respect each other dearly. And
Mhm.
we're still going to be working together on projects and ideas and things like that to offer y'all. And we're really excited about the next spiritual retreat, women's retreat that we're going to be doing again in October.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're already talking about that, and our minds are going into that direction too. And
Yes.
then
Yes.
with you, Mona, so you got your website up, right? You
Yep.
got, so what is your website name?
Okay, so and also you were the one that was like, okay, get this booking system done, get it done. So thank you for that because I am so like I always and that was a false limiting belief that I had all of my life was that I can't do technology. I can't do that. And I really and Brooke, you're the one that's carried us through with this whole podcasting thing so far. So thank you. But it's we got to get away from our false limiting beliefs on that. But yeah, the website has been so helpful as it's been updated with a new booking system. So it's easy to use and it's user friendly for even people like me who don't really tap into that technology. But it's beautifulmindsc.com.
So
It's
now
been the
they
same
can,
website for over a decade, but it's updated, it's renewed, it's got a list of every single service that I'm doing. So whether I'm doing one-on-ones or whether doing groups or whether doing events. In fact, the women's retreat will be posted on there as well. But the booking system is just so easy and wonderful to use. But that is it. And then working on the new podcast and the modules of doing guided meditations, which my heart and my dharma has been called to that for years. And I want to encourage all of our listeners too, is that there is only so much time in a day. There's so much when you are living your truth and living your dharma. There's so many things that need to come into place, but it's also just organizing. And maybe it's a new year thing, but it's organizing what's in the best and highest good, what's in the best and highest good at this moment, at this time. So it's such a blessing to be able to recognize those things and to continuously grow and shift and grow and shift and grow and shift. It's like making adjustments into fitting into different different parts of life, right?
yes, and people love your
Yes.
meditations and your healing and all of your services that you offer. And like everybody can just go on. You can book your Zen session right online. You can book your one-on-ones with her right online. Like I love your website looks absolutely beautiful. And
Thank
then,
you.
with your meditations and your podcast that you're going to be starting this coming year. I mean, I'm so excited for you, and I cannot wait to listen in and see what you've got going on and see what's happening in Mona's world. And I'm
Oh,
just really happy for you and all
thank
of the exciting plans you've got coming up and your
um,
ideas. And they're just going to grow from there. It's just going to get more and more and more because I could just see your mind expanding when you start one thing, and then it's going to, have that domino effect where it's just going to be bigger and bigger and bigger and better and better. And it's going to be amazing. And
oh,
I'm
thank
grateful
you.
I get to witness that.
Oh, thank you. And spiritual vacancy too. There's so many topics. There's so many things to still continue to go and grow. And I think as far as in the spiritual community, there's more and more people coming out of that spiritual closet, so to say. And those are some of my favorite questions that we ask people as well as they're growing in their spiritual paths. But those questions that you have to formulate, as we were interviewing people, as far as how'd you come out of your spiritual closet? When did that whole thing begin? And I just think that the growth in the spiritual world is really, people are awakening. It's time for awakening. It's time for just seeing in different realms, different ways.
And people are being
So,
more open and receptive to what's happening to them, or even confused. And then, the podcast helps with that to try to get them in a different mindset, or maybe they're like have that aha moment where they're like, oh my God, I'm not alone. They've
right?
been through that too. Like, okay,
Yes.
so this is the direction I need to go into. So it's always just been beautiful, no matter what we talk about is interesting to me.
We have talked about crazy things. Like you have had us talk about paranormal because you've had those experiences in the jails. I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm going to see this haunted jail or haunted place. I'm like, you are crazy. But you opened up a whole new realm of a way of thinking. And then we were able to talk about angels and orbs. And one of my favorites too is talking about aliens and our thoughts and beliefs on aliens and having us talk and connecting with different, I mean, so many different people from different parts of the country
Yeah.
that have been amazing. What were some of the things that really, stuck out in your mind and your heart for a spiritual vacancy?
Oh God, all of the things that we learned about people's stories and their journey and how they got to where they got, because it's literally none of them are the same. Like everybody's story and journey is different. And I so enjoyed talking to you as well. Like you said, you loved interviewing me. I loved interviewing you too. And the thing that I love about our relationship is we're so different, but yet we're so alike. And I have enjoyed our different opinions on things or how we see certain things where we can still agree on certain things from a different point of view. Like it's not just our point of view and that's it. You know, we each bring in a different aspect of like, oh, well, I didn't really think about that. Or, oh, I never even heard of this. You introduced me to so many people and so many topics that I'm not super familiar with, and vice versa. And it just worked. And I
Yeah.
just enjoyed learning because I feel like even though this is our podcast, I learned just as much as the listeners learned on some of the things that they went through. And, between like meditation coaches and a records keeper and palm reading, like I didn't know about palm reading, I didn't know about Chris Kidder, and then you introduced me to Pip, and I've never in my life heard of cardology. And it's like all these things that we can help each other learn. And just as long as you have like that open mind and willing to think outside of the box, and like my opinion is not always the right opinion or my thought, and to hear it from somebody else's point of view has been amazing. It really has
It's
been such a journey.
I've loved that too. It's just so expansive. And
Yes.
it's like it's amazing when energies come together and just like you're saying some things that you know about, some things you don't, and some things I know about, some things I don't. And then just the learning process of just seeing and growing and knowing just even more than when we had begun. So it's just absolutely so enlightening to
Yes.
see. So I'm excited to see what's gonna come through also for spiritual vacancies for the listeners, because I know I'll always be part of that as well, just
I
to
hope
see and
so.
be part of course, of course, of course.
Yes.
Because if I'm not, I will feel like I'm missing out of it. I'm missing out. I'm missing, and I don't want to miss out. So, but it's incredible. It's incredible, and I want to encourage also for those out there that if there's more things to bring out and just make aware, bring it to spiritual vacancy and let us see it. If there's things that you want to do through contemplations or some types of meditations, bring it to me, let me know. And those are things that we are all here to learn and grow. We are all here with each other and for each other, and we are not alone on this planet in the journey of being. So we're so lucky, aren't we, to be alive at this time?
Yes, yes, and have
We are.
so many amazing people around us that actually are supportive and just joyful and like happy.
Yeah.
It's just so nice, all the positivity in our community, because it can go negative real quick.
Yeah.
And everybody that we've interviewed have been such a light. And
Yeah.
you are such a light. And it just makes such a big difference where nobody was like, nobody's been negative about anything. Everybody has just been like encouraging and supportive and has these great words of kindness towards us and what we're doing. And every story that's told on here, the words of encouragement, like I love that episode, they'll text me and say, "Oh my gosh, that was such a great, person you had on. I didn't even know about that." And like that's
Mm.
what this is about, is helping people on their journey, finding even their higher self, their purpose, their soul's journey. What is it that they're missing? You know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for, is filling that spiritual void. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's such a blessing, such a blessing. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful, so
Me
grateful.
too. Me too. Grateful I got to spend a year with you doing this. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to the future of spiritual vacancy, and I'm looking forward to your future of what you're going to be accomplishing too. So, we just
Thank
thank you guys for
you.
listening in today. And of course,
Mhm.
message us. Go follow Mona on her Facebook page. Spiritual. It's not spiritual. And go follow her on Beautiful Mind, South Carolina, on Instagram, Facebook, and keep up with her for her podcast she's going to be doing, as well as her YouTube with her meditations and everything that she has to offer. And then also keep up with us to learn more about the women's retreat coming up again, which is an amazing, life-changing experience that you don't want to miss. And
Mm.
we will see you. Well, I got to change that. I will see you all next week. We hope you all have a beautiful day and namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.